Alright, there we go. Cool. Alright, yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy MayFlwr, and as always, hope all you guys are having a great day. Made a little coffee montage for the boys. Probably didn't look as cool as I thought it would in my mind, but oh well. As most of you guys probably already saw, I did just release a track like 5 days ago or something like that. If you haven't listened to it, it's called Fading Out. It's on Spotify, it's on SoundCloud, it's on YouTube, it's on the rest of the ones. And yeah, I've been reading through the comments, and you guys seem to really enjoy the track, so that's, you know, that feels good. So if you guys want to go listen to that and then come back to this video, I'm going to just be going over the project file and seeing what we can unveil. Maybe there's some cool stuff in there. Honestly, I don't know. A lot of you guys were asking me to show, you know, the project file, so here we are. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys who commented on the song and on SoundCloud and who are listening on Spotify. It's really cool that, you know, I can release music and, you know, thousands of people go and listen to it. It's kind of weird. And yeah, also if you guys stay to the end, I'm going to be giving away all the stems to this project file. So if you guys want to go remix it or whatever you want to do with it, you can go do that. I'm not entirely sure what's going to be in there. It's probably, you know, the vocal chop and the chords and, you know, all the little ingredients you need. So if anyone actually remixes it, I'll be very surprised. But I think that's enough talking. We're just going to jump right into the project file, see what we can find in there. And yeah, let's go.
Is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
So yeah, as you can see, this project is pretty unorganized. But, you know, I don't worry about it. You know, at the end of the day, it is your project file. You know, no one else is going to see it. Unless, of course, you make YouTube videos. You know, it's not really a big deal. It's just however you get ideas out the quickest. We can shrink this thing down, and we'll go to the very beginning, aka the intro. So, yeah, as you can see, there's not really a lot of stuff going on in this intro. There's just one pattern. The rest are automations and little impacts. We have one called Yeet. I don't recall what that was. Okay, that's what it is. So, not a lot going on here. Even if we click in the pattern, yeah, these are just the chords, which look like that. And I think even within the pattern, yeah, it's only like, it's only 4 sounds. We got some type of pluck, we got some type of pad, and then we have like a bass. Kind of 80s like. So what's in this little ARP right here? Okay, cool. Actually, this thing's super easy to make. I could probably just redo it real quick. It's that one. That one. Use this thing. It's kind of the envelope, even though we can use the other one, but you know, it doesn't matter. Let's put this here. And yeah, what I did with one of the automations was just have this cut off open up, so like 80s bass. Let's see what this is. Okay, another really simple one. And honestly, this one's really similar to the last one too. I'm just using the sub oscillator, and then I just used the envelope to shape the sound instead of the LFO, so it kind of like falls off a little bit. Yeah, I used the same filter, except for when you put up the resonance, that's kind of what gives it that 80s vibe. Like So lastly, for this intro, we have the vocal chop, which are these down here, which is kind of like you know, the driving force for the entire track. Actually, this is what I started out with. Like, I just made these, and then I kind of made the whole song around them. And that's how it usually goes. I find a lot of inspiration within vocals and vocal chop. I don't really know why. That's just how it plays out a lot. And just to top it off, to make it more intro-like, I just pretty much attached everything you see here to this low-pass filter. So now on to the second part of the intro, which is probably my favorite part of the entire track. Normal song structure, this first part of the intro would probably go all the way to over here, but you know, I just thought it was a cool idea to, you know, have it in kind of abruptly and then kind of have like a pre-drop to the real drop. It kind of comes out of nowhere. You know, you got the big chord stacks along with the vocal chops. And I don't know, I just thought it was a cool structure. But yeah, to start off, I'm gonna silence all these and just play the drum loop for you guys. So before I get too invested in like the melodic stuff, I always try to start out with a really solid drum loop, because that carries like most of the weight when you're doing these huge kind of intros. And when you have a lot of elements going on, like the chord stacks and stuff, you kind of need like a reference to go off of, because you don't really know how loud things need to be if you don't have a drum loop. So just get the drum loop nice and loud, and then kind of, you know, build your melodic stuff around that. What is this called? Bouncy ARP. Okay. So this is the chord progression that, you know, follows with all the huge chord stacks going on. So up here we just started off, you know, with some basic 4 chords. And then it just switches off into something kind of more complex. I thought the bass line here was pretty cool. I thought that was something that kind of stuck out. You gotta get that, you know, omnisphere choir just to get, you know, that kind of epic feel. And I think even here for the chords, I think the original chords came from like an acapella pack or something. If you ever work with a pack that has acapellas, usually it comes with like the chords that match up with it. And I think that's what I did here. I think I just dragged and dropped those in that were the 4 chords, and then changed it up into here or something like that, and then just made, you know, the bass line more complex. But yeah, this has several layers. It's got the choir, a bass, a chord stack, another one, and then 2 hardstyle leads on top. I always have to leave, you know, at least a little bit of room for, you know, my hardstyle and hardcore influence. And then I just kind of used it, you know, as an effect right here. Just made 2 like wobbles with the low pass filter. And then all together, you know, it sounds like this.
Come on.
Alright, now we're on to the build, which seems to be everyone's least favorite part of making a track for some reason. I think a lot of beginning producers have a lot of trouble making builds, mainly because, you know, they don't know how to fill up the frequencies. It's kind of a hard balance, you know, keeping, you know, something that has a rising tension, and then you don't want it to be, you know, a letdown when your drop happens. But, you know, just like anything else, you get better at it the more you do it. So if you're having a hard time with that, you know, I think an easy fix is just to make a really simple build. So just in this one, there's 1 snare build. This is like some claps layered on top of it. There's a shaker loop, 2 risers right here and right here. And then we just have 2 of the melodic elements. Even that just alone right there is not that bad. So, you know, throw in some snares and, you know, some risers, and you got a nice little build. And then the last thing I just did on this build, on the drop vocal, obviously the song name is Fading Out. I just added some manipulator effects. I put the formant and the pitch going down, just so, you know, when the drop hits, it kind of goes fading out, and then, you know, it kind of drops in. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. So before I go right into the drop, I just have these 4 versions of the song laid out that I just thought I'd show you guys, just to show you, you know, the progression of the track as it started to the very end. It's all about the evolution of the track and, you know, how you get there. So, you know, up here we got the Charmander, and then, you know, we get down here, we get the little Charmeleon, he's growing up, and then, you know, finally at the end we got the full Charizard. Alright, so enough dumb Pokemon references. This is what the initial idea sounded like. There's no mixing or anything on this. This is just the raw idea I made, I guess, on the very first day of working on the project. You know, not bad. Those vocal chops are kind of weird, but I think I straightened them out by the time I got to the second one, at least. And I think the drop was significantly different as well, because obviously it hasn't came as long of a way. You know, same kind of idea though. And then we finally get to the full version, which has the little switch up in the middle.
Come on.
And then finally, you know, the finalized drop. Oh yeah, and before I leave the screen, something fun you can do, just click on your track and just click a low letter on your keyboard or your MIDI or whatever, and you can hear your song played at really slow speeds, which, you know, can sometimes sound kind of cool. Alright, cool. So now we can move on to the drop portion, which, you know, is always fun to explain. First thing I'm going to do is just let you guys hear this drum loop alone without any of the basses. So I'm going to turn these off. There's this siren. And then there's also like a crowd cheering sound effect. And again, that's just to fill in those frequencies so it doesn't sound, you know, so empty. And yeah, I just thought that was, you know, a really solid drum loop. And you probably already heard this when I just played it, but these little sword sound effects, I added in some of them kind of, you know, whip into the snare. I thought that was kind of cool. That's actually my voice. I just recorded that really quick.
Let's go.
I could probably find the pitch of my voice if I go down. Probably be really embarrassing though.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. But yeah, now we can get into these basses. So this is the main pattern that's going on. Same chord stack we had earlier, only now it's used as like a stab just to start every little section. So since I already had that in place before, you know, I started the drop. It was super easy just to throw it in there. And yeah, after that, it just cycles through these two basses, or you know, I guess a stack of basses, but two mainly. Then we have one alternate one at the end. So I think one of the quick ones I can show you is this alternate one, which sounds like this. Which is actually a super easy bass to make. I could probably do it really quick. Get this J and O wavetable from the analog section, bring it down. Already that kind of brings out that kind of like distorted, like kind of sine wave sound. Oscillator B, we're gonna turn this up one, turn the level down so we can FM it. Turn the FM on, throw this on there, and that's the effect we want, but you know, it's a little extreme right there, so we're gonna bring it down. And it could use a little sub too, so we're gonna go down two, and it also needs, you know, like a filter or something, and we can use the same LFO for that. And there we go, you know, you can get a lot of cool things out of that. So this bass comes in like 3 or 4 times throughout the entire track, and I didn't want it hitting the exact same way every time. So I came down here, turned down the always button, turned this like halfway, mono, legato, and now you know, we can slide in between notes. So say if this is an A4, we can put like an A5 up here, and it'll slide up to that one now. So yeah, sliding dubstep basses. I don't know, I thought that was kind of cool. So this is like one of my go-to dubstep basses to start out with, just because there's so many possibilities. And I think I learned to make this from like a preset pack. So, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there worried, you know, oh, I'm using a preset pack, is that bad? I don't think it's a bad thing, you know, as long as you're learning from it. I've learned a bunch from, you know, all the Virtual Riot packs, and I know a bunch of other artists have packs too. I think everyone in, you know, the dubstep community, you know, has learned a lot from each other's work. I know a lot of people take inspiration from these Virtual Riot presets. I think that's just because Virtual Riot had a lot of cool techniques that people take inspiration from. Yeah, as long as you're learning, you know, especially in the beginning parts of your producing career, just use presets as like a study tool. And once you have those basic, you know, techniques down, like using the filters, you know, those signature LFO shapes, there's endless possibilities after that. And that's when sound design gets really fun. So for the rest of these, I'm just gonna cycle through each one of them just so you can, you know, hear what's going on. The laser. This one's a womp sound, I called it. And then these two are like the main driving forces under the two basses, which is just a future bass chord. And the top one looks like this. Okay, it's called Haha Dope. I have no idea why. I've been doing this a lot lately, especially in my more recent tracks. I've been combining, you know, like future bass elements with the dubstep. So this future bass chord is actually following the same LFO shape as the bass. I think the last thing I have time to show you guys before this turns into like a 30-minute video is this little mid-section. So immediately after the drop, we have some impacts, and it goes right back into those first few intro patterns and the vocal chop. And I think this part right here has to be my favorite part of the entire track. This part and the beginning section that I already mentioned. I don't know, I think it's just a really cool vibe going right here. It also sets a really good contrast from, you know, kind of like the heavy bass we had going over here and going to this, you know, complete melodic section. I don't know, I just thought that was really neat.
Come on.
And again, with this little LP filter right here, I just kind of doubled up the wobbles. After that, probably the last thing we have time to talk about it just goes right into this big break. So we go back to those same 4 chords, only this time we have those hardstyle leads playing like a little melody. Also down here on my my syn channels, like my reverb one, I have the reverb on top, and then it gets fed into this weird kind of like stereo plugin, and it's pretty easy. The interface is kind of cool. It just has like a little triangle to show you how wide things are, and I just spread out some of that reverb on some of those hardstyle leads, just, you know, make it really wide, and that gives it like a really airy feeling.
Come on.
Alright, I think that about wraps it up for this video. You know, for how messy this thing actually looks, it's actually a really simple project file. A lot of it's driven by, you know, those huge chord stacks, and then, you know, the dubstep basses in the middle get a little more complex. But still, overall, it's a really simple project file. So boom, we're done. You know, cue the outro. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said in the intro, the stems for this track are going to be available somewhere in the description. I don't know how I'm going to set up the download. I don't really know how that works, but I'll figure it out later. And also, if you made it this far, I'm just gonna throw in like a little bass sample pack that's gonna have, you know, like a bunch of weird, you know, bounces that I've made in the past couple months. And yeah, I'm also gonna throw in some little future bass drums that I use all the time, you know, just as a thank you to you guys for supporting me in the channel. And yeah, so that's gonna be inside the remix stems pack if you guys want to download that, you know, just for that, or if you really want to remix it, whatever. I just wanted to think of a way to, you know, thank you guys for all the support you've given me. You know, you guys are super cool. If any of y'all ever have any questions, you know, you can follow me on Instagram. You can DM me. I try to answer all my DMs. I love talking to you guys. Y'all usually have, you know, really cool things to say, so that's awesome. Yeah, this is the end. So after this video, you know, close out your internet and, you know, go make some tracks of your own. Hopefully you're some type of inspired. For real, I'm casting a good luck spell on you right now. After you close out the internet, you're gonna make the best track of your life. So go do that. All right, see you guys. Peace.